Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are now live in BricsCAD Philippines Facebook page and CADinCloud YouTube channel for BricsCAD Creating Text. No, inviting you to join us in Facebook, BricsCAD Users Philippines. Okay, inviting you to like and follow BricsCAD Philippines Facebook page and join CADinCloud Facebook page and like and follow CADinCloud. Okay, let me introduce to you our instructor, CADinCloud Application Engineer, Sir Brian Tirambulo. Good afternoon, Sir Brian.
Hi, hello, Ma'am Nelsie. Good afternoon. So, welcome for another learning experience in BricsCAD. So, basically, we will be learning the basic BricsCAD pa rin, today for the reason that we are aiming for the transition of the users from AutoCAD and other CAD softwares to BricsCAD. Okay. So still, this is a part of our step-by-step process in learning BricsCAD. Okay? So our live for today is medyo maikli siya compared to to the previous live that we had, but we will make sure that you will still going to learn a lot of things today. Okay? Then, our topic for today, this is for me, although it sounds very simple, but for me, but this is very important in CAD, okay, or in other softwares. You should know how to use this. Should know how to create and edit. Okay, so this session is all about text. Okay, so creation and editing. Okay. So last time I come across a certain question from a certain page in Facebook about text. So obviously, most of us users, especially those new users in CAD, not only in the BricsCAD, so I find it hard to use this element in CAD. Okay, so or this text. Okay, so yan. So this is our main goal on how to create and edit text properly in BricsCAD, and this will be related also to other CAD softwares, especially if you are a user of AutoCAD. Okay, kasi as we review, and if you are going to check the BricsCAD software, it is most likely yung itsura niya is most likely the same on the interface of AutoCAD and other softwares. Okay? So yun. So then, the creation and editing is almost the same. Meron lang na bago ng konti. But if you are an AutoCAD user or other CAD software user, so it will be very simple for you to analyze or to understand our topic for today. Okay? So yan. So I'm going to share my screen. So we're going to start agad-agad. By the way, for those new here on CADinCloud and BricsCAD community, so I will be your instructor. I'm Brian Tirambala. So, and I'll share my screen. Okay, so my screen is now shared. So let's start. So wag na tayong magpaligoy-ligoy pa. So, to review lang, last topic natin, yung topic natin last time is all about, if I'm not mistaken, it's all about blocks and right blocks. Okay? So, you can check that on the YouTube channel of CADinCloud. So, I'll start na. Okay. Pasensya na sa screen ko. So, it's medyo magulo yung sa left side. Okay, so this is the launcher. Okay, the BricsCAD 2020 version 21. Okay, so we have the 2D drafting, modeling, mechanical design, and BIM. So then we also have the BricsCAD shape. And so by the way, for now we will be using the 2D drafting. Okay, so I'll just open or click this one. Okay, then I will going to open a drawing. So I don't have a PowerPoint presentation because for me, if we were going to learn CAD or BricsCAD, another CAD software, so it's much better to go directly on in the software, and we were going to explain or yan, so, or dun ko lang talaga na prepare yung discussion ko. Okay? So yan. Okay, so I hope nakikita niyo yung ano ko, yung monitor ko. So this is the interface of BricsCAD for those new here, okay, on our free learning sessions in CADinCloud, BricsCAD. So yeah, so if you notice, if you're an AutoCAD user, it's almost the same. The icon is almost the same. The interface is almost the same. So you will not going to ano ng parang kung saan pa interface shock ba sa software. So it it is pretty much familiar. Okay? So yan. So by the way, so so just like in other CAD softwares, meron tayong dalawang text na ginagamit. Okay? On um especially dun sa AutoCAD users. Okay? So basically we have the dynamic text. Okay? So we have the dynamic text. There you go. Then we have here the multiline tags. So yan. So basically yan yung dalawang main types of text that you will be using in CAD softwares, especially in BricsCAD. Okay? So let's go or let's talk about the difference between the two. Okay? So, yan. So let's make it simple. So, yan. So we have here dynamic text and we have here multiline text. Okay, so most of the CAD users dito nagkakamali. If they were going to create a floor plan, especially they are on labeling na, for example, magle-label ka ng living room, kitchen, bedroom. So, yung mindset ng mga tao is agad-agad sila magta-type ng letter T for text. Di ba? Yung mangyayari kasi doon, if you are going to use T for text, you will be using multiline text. Okay? Then, multiline text is supposedly used from the name itself, multiline, for those texts na maraming ayun nga, multiline. So more likely in paragraphs and phrases, yun din mo dapat gagamitin yung yung multiline text. While on labeling, okay? So as possible, dapat yung magamit natin is dynamic text. Okay? So if I'm going to compare the two, or I'm going to relate to something, yung dalawang to. So yung dynamic text natin, you can compare this to a WordPad file. Then, yung multiline text natin, you can compare this one to a Microsoft Office file. So, saan ba yung mas mabigat? Okay, on your drawing file. Yung Microsoft Word na file or yung WordPad na file. Diba mas magaan yung sa WordPad na file. So, yun yung mangyayari sa sa project mo. If you will be using multiline text all throughout, so more likely yung project mo medyo medyo mabigat mag-loading yan. While if you will be using dynamic text okay on labels on single lines, so magaan yung project mo. Okay? More likely gagaan siya. So yan. So hindi naman to ginawa ni BricsCAD, okay, or the other CAD softwares na magkaiba kung wala silang separate na function. Diba? So, more likely, meron silang designated na function talaga, okay, on our CAD projects. Okay? So, yan, to make it simple, okay, so dynamic text or single line text or DT for the shortcut, okay, or for the alias. Okay, it is a single line text commonly used in labeling. For example, you will be labeling yun nga, yung living room, yung bedroom, yung kitchen, yung entrance, and so on. So, much better to use the text. Okay? So, yan. Pero kung nagmamadali ka, then let's say natapos mo na yung project mo, then you mistakenly use the multiline text on your project. So don't worry guys, you just explode the multiline text and it will be converted into a text, okay, or dynamic text. Okay, so let's start here on the dynamic text. Okay, so in learning dynamic text or in creation of dynamic text, you should know, you should understand, okay, some settings to be considered in using dynamic text. Okay, so we have here justification. Okay, so the justification that we have here is almost the same on other CAD softwares, especially AutoCAD. Okay, so we have the top left, top center justification, top right, middle left justification, and so on. Okay, so what is the purpose of this justification? So bakit kailangan natin itong matutunan? Okay, so why would we need to understand on how to use properly this justification on your dynamic text? Okay, so yan. So if I'm going to explain it in a very simple way, ito na lang. Yung justification mo, so it will be the place or the point to be considered kung saan lalabas yung text mo if you were going to type. Okay? So yan. So then, it is very important in the orientation on the project. So yan. So although you can move the text if you had created the text na mali or parang ano siya ng mislocated dun sa ano, so ano yung term dun, gumagawa na ako ng English dito. Yun parang mali yung location kasi you can still move. Okay? But so much better to use properly justification. It depends on the situation of your project. Okay? So yan. So let's try muna yung justification. Let's try to create text, okay, out of these justifications. Okay? So dito nila ako sa baba. Yan. So our alias for dynamic text is DT. Okay? So that is the text. I will accept. Okay, then we have here settings right below. So yan, so meron tayong use defined, align, fit between 2 points, and so on. Okay? So currently, hindi natin nakikita dito yung ibang justification. So what we need to do here is we have here the justification option, and currently we can type letter J to show all of the justification available on this command. Okay, yung dtext. So I'm going to type letter J, or you can simply click if you want. So accept. Yan. So we have here center, horizontal, middle, right justification. Okay, so top left, top center, top right, middle left, middle center, and so on. Okay, so let's say let's have the top left justification. So this is the top left justification. So what will happen if you are going to use top left justification in creating a text? Okay, in creating a text. Okay, so our shortcut, okay, for the top left justification is TL. So you can type TL. Okay, accept. Okay. Then the command prompt is asking you for the top left point of the text. I will going to click. Okay, so for now, I have here the angle. So I'll just accept that for now. I will going to explain that later. Actually, there's a setting na missing. Okay, or there's an option na missing on my text ngayon. I will explain that later also. Yan. So I have top left. So, we're going to type text na lang. Okay? So, I'll just use capital letters. So, that is text. Okay? So, medyo malaki pala, no? Okay. So, yan. So, how do we know that this is on top left justification? Simply highlight the text and you will see, okay, a grip here. Okay, an insertion grip here located at the top left portion of the text. Okay? So, what will be the main function, okay, of this grip, okay, of this top left justification later? Okay? So, ganito lang ka-simple yan. Okay? So, I'll create a line here, for example. I'll create a line. Okay? So, yan. So, it will be related also on where you are going to click, okay, for the start point of your text. And so that's the time that you're going to consider what justification you are going to use. Okay, so I'm going to type BT again. Okay, so J for justification. Okay, that will be top left, PL. Okay, accept. Okay, then I'm going to click here. Okay, click. Okay, accept for the rotation. Then, so yun yung mangyayari. Okay, I'll just double enter to accept. Okay, kasi pag nag-create ka ng text using dtext, then yung justification mo is top left. Then you click here. Okay, you click here. Okay, so what will happen? Okay, so if we're going to type, okay, so this will happen. Oops, sorry. I did not select, okay, the top left. Okay, so J for justification. Okay, TL. If I'm going to click here, then I'm going to accept, then type text. Okay, so your text will be misoriented or hindi proper yung pagkakalagay niya. Yan. So, although you can still move, okay, you can still move this text if you want, but magiging hassle yung paggawa ng project. And so, more likely the function of the justification is basically on how you are going to properly place your text. Okay, so let's try another justification. We're not going to try all of the justification. It's because it will going to take time. Okay, so the text, then J for justification. Then I have here, for example, a bottom right. So that is BR for bottom right. So this is the location of the bottom right, right? Okay. So if your justification is bottom right, I'm going to click here at the bottom right also. Yan. Then accept. Okay, then I'm going to type text. So medyo na miss ano lang. I will repeat. Okay, so that is BR. Okay, for the bottom right. I'll click here. So accept. Okay, so text. Yan. So kung mapapansin nyo kung nasan yung yung justification mo. So doon sisimulang lalabas yung text mo. 'Di ba? Okay? So basically this is the usage, okay, of the justification. Then did you know that your justification will serve also as the handle if you are going to move, okay, this object properly using an entity snap in BricsCAD. Okay? So, for those na familiar, okay, dun sa entity snap or this is equivalent on the object snap on AutoCAD. So, if I'm going to right-click this one, so ito yung mga snap natin, okay, object snap natin or entity snap on BricsCAD. So, meron tayo ditong insertion, snap. Okay, this one, insertion. Okay? So, insertion snap. Okay, so you can determine, okay, the entity snap or the insertion snap, okay, of your text, okay, based on the justification. Okay, for example, I was going to move this text, then I was going to hold this text on the bottom right justification. I will going to Command M for move. Okay, then select this text. Then after that, then I will going to activate the insertion entity snap. Okay, so that is activated now. If I'm going to hover, okay, if I'm going to hover on this text, okay, it will detect, okay, an insertion, okay, entity snap here at the bottom right. Okay? So, yun. So, pwede mo nang, okay, so, pwede mo nang i-move yung text mo na hawakan mo siya sa proper na justification or to its existing justification. Okay? So, yun. So, let's try to create another one to confirm lang. So, that is DT for the text. Okay, then J for justification. Okay, so we have here middle center. So that is MC for the shortcut. Okay, then I'll just click. Okay, then accept. Okay, then text. Okay. Okay, then if you are going to highlight this text, okay, so the insertion snap will be located at the middle center. Okay? But most of us na mga drafters, hindi na pinapansin yung justification ng text. Okay, basta makalagay ng text, okay na sa kanila. Okay? But if you want to properly learn how to use text, so you need to consider learning those justification, understanding those justification. Okay? So yan, especially you want to teach BricsCAD or other CAD softwares. So you cannot tell your students na if you are going to create text, simply type letter T for text or type text to create a text or a notes in your CAD project. So it will looks right, but technically it is wrong. Okay? So kaya nga ginawa ni BricsCAD at saka ni other CAD softwares yung DText and MText in order for you to properly use them through their designated na application. Okay? So, yan. So, we are done with the creation of the DText and the justification. Okay? You can explore the other justification if you want next time. Okay. Then, okay, before we proceed on this topic here below, okay, so let's discuss na lang kung ano naman yung multiline tags. Okay? So multiline text, from the name itself, multiline. So it is intended for text, which is in paragraph or in sentence. Okay, basically, composed of many lines. Okay, multiple lines. Yan. So you can use MT for MText or letter T for MText pa rin. Okay. So I have here a sample. Okay, so this is Peter Piper, and so how to create a multiline text. It's very simple also. So you simply type letter T for MText or MT for MText, then you create a boundary. So that is left click lang, going to the right side. Yan. So to determine the boundary of your text, okay, don't worry, this is still adjustable. Okay, so let me reassign first to standard. We're going to teach you that later. Okay, so I'll create a text here. So yan. So there's a floating na settings. And this is also related here sa taas under the annotate ribbon tab. Okay, so you have here the text styles, the font, and other settings. Okay, so we're going to teach you that later also. Okay, so continue tayo. Medyo limited yung time natin. So yan, so let's type na lang again ito. So I have here. Okay, if you're wondering, sir, bakit iba yung text style sa ngayon, later I will going to teach you. Okay, so yan. Capital letters ko na lang muna. Okay, so I have here Peter. Yan. So I'm going to press enter. Then, yan. Konti lang, hindi ko na ita-type lahat to. Okay, so Peter Piper. Okay, pick. Okay, so let's say I'll just type the first line. Okay, for us not to consume time. Okay, then if you notice kanina on our dtext, I'll simply press enter twice and it will going to cancel or accept our dtext. But here, if we're going to double enter, it will simply create another line, okay, on the mtext. Okay, so you can simply click OK here. Or you can click outside in order for you to accept, okay, our text. Okay, so there you go. So that is our multiline text. Okay, then our multiline text is adjustable, okay, using these grips here. And it depends on kung gaano kalaki yung gusto mong boundary. Okay, so it's very simple. That's how to create your multiline text. Okay, so then, but the settings, well, it will depends on the floating um, settings here, dialog box, okay, on the text formatting. So basically, you have here the settings similar to a Microsoft Word. So more likely, we're not going to elaborate the discussion on this part. So let's have konting trivia lang dito mamaya. Okay? So basically, that's how you are going to create a multiline text. Okay? So you just type a survey, you just type T for text, you create a boundary, then you type. Okay? If you're concerned about the text style and the height, so for now, leave it at default lang muna. Okay? So we will going to create a custom text style later. Okay, so that is our multiline text. Now let's go back here on the text height. Okay, or on how to properly create text, okay, on your project. Okay, so most of the new drafters are not very familiar on how to properly put a text on their project in exact size that they wanted or on the requirements on their project. Okay? Yan. Kasi yung paglalagay ng text, okay, sa mga CAD softwares, guys, it will be coordinated on the model space, okay, and on your paper space, okay, dito sa BricsCAD and other CAD softwares. Okay? So yan. So let's have a very simple explanation on this. Okay. Dito kasi sa BricsCAD, meron tayong tinatawag na layout. Okay, so layout space. And meron tayong tinatawag na model space. Okay? So, kung na-observe nyo, okay, dun sa mga project nyo last time, on the model space, dun kayo gumagawa ng mga line works. Dun kayo gumagawa ng mga floor plans nyo. Okay? And you do it on actual size. Diba? For example, the house will be measured at 10,000 millimeters by 5,000 millimeters. You are going to put the actual value, okay, on the model space, okay, of your BricsCAD. Di ba? But of course, you will not going to print, okay, that actual ng floor plan. Because imagine niyo 10,000 by 5,000, okay, na floor plan. So, kaya bang magkasya yan sa papel? May mahanap ba kayong papel na magkakasya yung 10,000 by 10,000 millimeters na floor plan? Okay, hindi, di ba? Okay? So, sa model space, so basically, we create the drawings on actual size. But in order for us to fit that, okay, on the paper, okay, basically on the layout space, because layout space is also known as the paper space, you will be needing to apply scaling. Di ba? Okay? So, dyan na pumapasok yung 1 is to 100, 1 is to 75, 1 is to 50 na scaling. Okay, in order for you to fit your project, okay, on your paper. Okay, so yan. So, let me open. Okay, so let me open a floor plan. So, yan. So we will going to apply later, okay, what we have learned, okay, here, okay, dun sa floor plan. Okay, ganito lang ka-simple, guys, yung explanation for now, okay, on putting text on your project. If you decided, okay, if you decided to use, okay, a scaling of 1 is to 100, this will be applied on your paper space. Let's say you will be using an A3 na papel. So that is 297 by 210 millimeter. If I'm not mistaken. Okay, so yan. So if you will be using 1 is to 100, 1 is to 1 is to 75, 1 is to 50 na scaling. Okay, so this will be the sample, okay, text height, okay, na pwede nyo mailagay. Then, if you are going to get the concept of this discussion, you can apply that to other scaling that you have, okay, on your projects. Okay? Then we have here the height, okay, on the paper space, or we have here the height of the text, the actual printing height of the text on your paper. Okay? Then, the equivalent, okay, on the model space in order for you to have this output. Okay, for example, okay, pag pinrint mo yung floor plan sa A3 na papel, yung text mo, dapat, pag minasure mo siya actual ng ruler mo, okay, dun sa printed output, dapat ma-measure mo 2 millimeter, okay, yung text mo. So, you assigned 1 is to 100 na scaling in your project. So, ngayon, ano yung ilalagay mo na text height, okay, on your model space on your project? Okay? So, I have here 200 millimeter. Okay? So, ito yung i-assign mo na text height, okay, on your text, on the model space, in order for you to have a 2 millimeter, okay, actual text height, okay, on your paper. Very simple. Okay? Then, if you want 3 millimeter naman, yung actual printing height, okay, nung text mo, okay, on the paper space. So, you'll be having 300 millimeter measurement, okay, on your model space. Nakuha? Kung 4 millimeter, so 400 millimeter naman yung i-assign mo na text height on your model space. 5 millimeter, 500 millimeter on your model space. Okay? And remember, yung sinet mong scaling on your project is 1 is to 100. Okay? So, let's have a sample. Okay? Para mas maintindihan nyo. Okay, so I have here a sample floor plan. Okay, so let's say I will going to put a text here. If I'm going to measure this floor plan, this is actual measurement, and this is 20,750 millimeters. Okay, then 7,400 millimeters. Okay, so yan. But I will going to print this into an A3 na papel. Okay, hindi ko naman ito mapiprint. Wala akong mahanap na papel na ganito kalaki. Diba? 20,000 millimeter, 20 meters na papel. Saan ako makahanap niyan? Okay? Then, yun. So, let's put a text. So, that is the text. This is labeling. So, I will going to use the text. So, I'll just use the default na justification. So, I'll just click here. Then, it is asking for the height. Ito na yung sinasabi ko kanina. Remember, nasa model space tayo. Okay, nasa model space tayo. Then, I will be using 1 is to 100 scaling on my project. So, kung gusto ko na 2.5 mm pa rin yung magiging actual measurement ng text ko, okay, dun sa printed output, okay, ng floor plan ko, I will going to use 2.5 times 100, Okay, so 1 is to 100 the scaling. So that is 250 millimeters. So we're going to put 250. Okay, then I will going to accept. Yan. Then for the rotation, I'll just accept for now. 0 lang muna. Okay, then I will going to put living room. Okay, then I'll just accept, double enter. Okay, then another one. So text, click here. Okay, 250 pa rin. Okay, then 0. Okay, for the rotation, I have here bedroom. Accept. Yan. Then after that, okay, so text again. Okay, accept. Okay, that is 250. Yeah. So yan. So let's say this is entertainment. Okay, tama ba yung spelling? Okay, so yan. So yan. So, guys, yung ginamit ko na text height, okay, on the model space is 250 millimeter. Yan, no? So, if I'm going to DI from here to here, that is 250 millimeters. Okay, on the model space. This is on the model space. If the labeling will going to be on the model space, because some CAD operators is doing their labeling on the on the paper space. Okay, so by the way, I'm going to click here on the layout one. Okay, I'll just change the color of the paper space. Yan, in order for you to Yan. So for those na hindi pa familiar kung paano gamitan yung layout space or paper space, so watch out for our incoming na mga trainings, free live session in order for you to learn how to use the paper space. Okay, kasi yung focus natin ngayon is text. Okay, so I'll change muna the paper size. This one also, this is another topic, but for now, just let me do it. Okay, so I'm going to change the the paper size. Okay, let's use nilang yung A4. Okay, or we can customize. So custom. So let's say 210. So let's add a title. So the name. Okay, so my paper. Okay, so my paper. Okay, so margins, I will not going to put margins, then click OK. Then apply. Okay, so baliktad, copy. Oops. Okay, so I have now an A3, okay, na papel. Ayan. So, ngayon, imagine niyo lang guys, okay, so ito yung mapiprint. Okay, ito yung mapiprint sa floor plan nyo. Okay, if you're going to print it actual talaga. Okay, so, but in the model space, remember, you are using the actual size, okay, of your floor plan of your project. Okay, so on the layout, we are applying scaling. Okay, so we have a separate discussion for this. Okay, so we are applying scaling. So I'll just go inside the clicking. So this is an M view. This is a different discussion pa rin, guys. So that's why it's better to sumunod kayo talaga sa mga session natin, okay, learning session natin sa BricsCAD. Okay, so so what we're going to have here is we will going to okay, so let's going to set the scale for now. Okay, masyadong malaki pala yung ano natin. Okay. Okay, so we set here 250, okay, on our text height on the model space. Okay, here, okay, on our layout space, guys. If you're going to print this, so yung maging actual measurement ng ating text. Yan, so if we're going to create here a line, yan, so more likely it will be 2.5 millimeter. Yan. So hindi ko lang exactly ma-measure for the reason it will not going to snap. Okay, so but more likely it will be 2.5. It will be exactly 2.5 if you're going to measure using a ruler on the paper na ipiprint nyo sa floor plan. Okay? So yan. So kung it's very simple concept. If you want this text to be printed 2.5 millimeter on actual paper, on A3 paper, on the model space, you are going to put a height of 250 millimeter. Okay? So yan. So let's try another another measurement, okay, of the text height. For example, here on the pool. Okay, so I'll just put a text here. Let's say I'm going to put 500. Okay, then rotation 0. So pool. Okay, accept ko. So this is 500. Ano, so this is 500. Okay, here on the model space. Okay, on the layout, if we were going to measure that, this is on the 1:100 scaling. Okay, yan. This is on the 1:100 scaling. Okay, then if we're going to measure that outside, okay, of your paper space or of your layout space, so it will be exactly 5 millimeter. Yan, 5 millimeter yan. Okay, yung magiging measurement niya. Okay, so yan. Kasi guys, if you are going to put, okay, the actual printing height of the text here on the model space, yan, text ko. I'll put 5 millimeter. Yan, so let's say living room. Ay, sorry. So, text, okay. Okay, so yan. So, if I'm going to type, it's very, very small. Okay? If you are going to use the actual printing height na ng text, okay, on your project. Okay? So, remember to use this formula always. So, yan. So the text height on the model space is equals, okay, to the paper space height multiplied to the project scaling. Okay, so that is basically 2 millimeter times 100. Okay, if your scaling is 1:75, so the measurement of the 2 millimeter, okay, actual printing height of the text, okay, you are going to use dapat sa ano sa model space 150 millimeter. Okay? So yan. So let's have a sample here on the 1:50. So yan. So if you want to measure 2 millimeter actual printing height of the text, so you should use 100 millimeter, okay, on your model space text height. Then your scaling should be set into 1:50. Okay, so let's have a sample. Okay, so the text. So I'll just put 100. Then I have here rotation 0 for now. Okay, so living room. Yan. So here on the model space, this is measured, okay, 100 millimeter. Okay, but on the layout space, if you will be using 1:100, this will be measured, okay, 1, okay, millimeter. Okay? It should be 2.5 pala. No? By the way, we use 2 millimeter, okay, na measurement. So, I will going to set the scaling. Okay, so next time yung lecture natin sa scale. So, that would be okay. So, yan. So, I have here 1:50 na scaling, guys. If I'm going to measure, okay, outside, it will going to be 2 millimeter. Okay, so sakto. Okay, our measurement here. Okay, 2 millimeter. Okay, so basically that is the very simple concept, okay, on coordinating, okay, your text height on your paper space to the text height that you are going to use on the model space. Okay, so you need to consider what scaling, okay, you are going to use on your project and what height of the text, actual printing height of the text that you want for your output. Okay? So yan. Ito mga 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, 5 millimeter, ito yung actual na height talaga ng text na ma-measure mo dun sa printed na output ng project mo. Okay? Then, ito yung mga gagamitin mo. Okay, na text height. Okay, if you were going to apply the scaling 1:100, 1:75, 50, and so on. Okay, just remember this formula. Okay, so model space, text height. Ito, okay, yung mga gagamitin nyo, that will be from, okay, the paper space height, 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, times the project scale that you are going to use. 1:100, 75, 50, and so on. Okay? So, ganun lang. Okay, so, yun, marami nagkakamali dyan kung paano properly maglagay, okay, ng text, okay, na visible under projects. And, of course, coordinated with their scaling. Okay? Okay, yung scaling, okay, na naka-apply sa project nila. Okay, so yan. So let's go back here. So we are done, okay, with the creation of the text, dynamic text, and the multiline text. Okay, now we have here some editing, okay, on our text. Then we will going to proceed in creating text styles, okay, sample text styles. Okay, for the text editing, guys, so we have a very simple, ano no, ng mga editing commands and actions here, okay, on BricsCAD. It's almost the same sa AutoCAD na mga editing. Okay, so sometimes hindi na to nagagamit ng iba. Okay, but actually this is very important to know, especially the other commands here. And I find it very useful in creating projects, okay, in BricsCAD and other CAD softwares. Okay, so let's try first, okay, the text edit or the DD edit or ED. So if you observe, if you are a CAD user or AutoCAD user, so it's almost the same. Yan. So if I'm going to type DD edit, so I have here the DD edit, okay, command. Okay, or I can simply type ED, so still that is DD edit. Okay, if I'm going to accept that, okay, so you will simply select, okay, the text that you are going to edit. So click, and there you go, you can edit the text. And this is applicable, okay, on multiline and the text. Okay, so this is applicable both multiline and the text. Okay, so there you go. Okay, or if you don't want to use DD edit, you find it hard or you find it very impractical kasi you are going to type pa DD edit or ED. So you will simply double left click and then you are going to edit na. Okay, so your text. It's very simple. Okay, then I have here the spell check. Okay, so this is very useful in checking your project, final checking of your project if there's wrong spelling. So what they need to do here is simply, okay, so type SP for spell check. And from the name itself, you'll be checking the spelling of the project. Okay, accept ko. So you have your choices if you're going to check on the entire drawing or current selection. Okay, so for now, I'll just use entire drawing. Then I will going to start the spell check. Okay, so yan, so BricsCAD will going to suggest, okay, words replacement to the current word. But if that word seems right naman on your project, so you can ignore. Okay, if you are going to use ignore lang, so it will go through all of the word not the same sa, for example, labeling. So yan, so if we're going to ignore, so yan, so that will happen. So I think isa lang yung labeling na word kanina. Okay, so this one, so it is considered also as a wrong spelling kasi may space dapat. So I just ignore. Okay, ignore. Yan, so ignore. Yeah, so here I intentionally put double D here on the pickled in order for me to have a sample on the spell check. So yeah, so I have here a suggestion, the correct spelling for the pickled. So what I'm going to do here is I will simply change, okay? Or if there's similar word in your project, so you can click change all, okay? So I'll just click change. Okay, there you go. So spelling check is complete. Okay, so there's no wrong spelling na sa project ko. So that's how easy is it to use the spell check command. Okay, so then we have here the properties palette. I think most of you are familiar in editing text using the property palette. Okay, so you can access the property palette by numerous shortcuts or aliases. You can use PR, so you can use MO, okay, for properties. So yan, you can use Control plus 1, okay, so that is shortcut. Or you can use the icon here on the right side, properties. It will going to show the property palette, okay, on the BricsCAD. Okay, so to edit, for example, this text, you simply select, okay, select this text. Then you are going to change the properties of the text. So you will be able to change the existing property lang dito sa ngayon. So you have here the annotative property. Okay, so stay tuned, guys. So we will going to discuss or have a sample of annotative text next time. Okay? So I think most of you naririnig yung annotative text. Okay, na word. Okay, so the content. So kung ano yung laman, okay, nung text natin. So pwede mong baguhin dito sa property palette. Okay, so text style. So currently I have your standard. On this existing file, I have already set up na other text styles. For example, you have here, ito na lang. So, just a sample. Then, okay, so row monk. So, yan. So, you can change the text style of this text using property palette. But if you are curious about the text style, don't worry, guys. Just stay tuned. We will going to discuss how to create text style later. The justification, na-discuss ko to kanina. So, your multiline text also have justification. So, you can change that. So, direction, left to right. So, yeah, and so on. So, text height. You can change the text height of your project. Okay, using the property palette. Okay, so that's how to use property palette. Okay, so you can also use CH for the shortcut of property palette. So CH, yan. So you can use, ano pa, ano pa yung record natin, MO, yan. Then, okay, so we have here PR for properties and control plus 1. So there are various ways in order for us to show or to display, okay, the property palette. And remember, a property palette editing is the most used editing technique in BricsCAD or UniCAD softwares because it will going to display most of the properties of a certain object, not only the text. Of course, the other objects, the other elements in BricsCAD or CAD software. So most probably, property palette editing is the best way to edit elements, okay, in BricsCAD. Okay, so that is okay, property palette editing. Next, we have here the find and replace. Okay, from the name itself, okay, so you're going to find the text, then you are going to replace. For example, Peter. Okay, so we were going to replace Peter. Okay, by a different name. Okay, but of course, we will not going to edit this manually. Now you're going to double click then change the name of Peter. Eh paano naman? Maraming Peter, okay, on your project, 'di ba? So imagine on your floor plan if you have a word that needs to be replaced, then sobrang dami ng word na 'yan. Sorry. Okay, sobrang dami ng word na yan on your project. So it's very hassle for you to edit manually, okay, yung ating yung word na yon. Okay? So, you can use the find and replace in order for you to easily change, okay, that word that you want to change. Okay? So, don't worry. So, BricsCAD will display naman kung saan banda yung mapapalitan mo. Okay, so you can type find. Okay, So for the find and replace, our alias is simply find. So ano ba yung hahanapin mo? Okay, find text string. Okay, so let's say we're going to find Peter. Okay, then ano yung ipapalit mo kay Peter? Okay, so let's say si Juan. Okay, so you are going to use 1. You are going to replace Peter with 1. So first that you are going to do is click find. Okay, so yan. So this is the text that contains, okay, the Peter na word. So if you want to replace all of the word na Peter, okay, by 1. If you want to replace all of that at once, so you will going to use replace all. But if you want to go through to all of the Peter, okay, na papalitan mo, so you will going to click replace. Okay, so just click replace. Okay, so that is the first Peter na replace. So it's now 1. Okay, the next Peter will be replaced. So you click another replace. But let's say you will need to replace all of the Peter with 1. Okay, so para hindi na hassle sa'yo, so you can click the replace all. Okay, so all of the Peter word, okay, were replaced by 1. So that's how easy it is. Diba? So, nagbago yung isip mo. So, you're going to replace 1 with Peter. Okay. So, you replace all. And so, that's how easy it is. Diba? Okay. So, interchange again. Okay, replace all. Okay. So, that's how you will going to so may R pa tuloy. So that's how we use find replace. Okay. So we are not done yet, okay, about our text discussion. We were going to add another topics maya-maya. So yun, so hindi complete yung ating text discussion, creation of text, and editing of text. If we will not going to tackle the text styles, because if you are going to open BricsCAD, guys, you are going to observe that currently, if you are going to open, okay, a new file of BricsCAD, you will notice that your text style will be standard only for now. Okay. So what if your project requires multiple text styles that you are going to use in your project? So how you are going to create, okay, text styles, different text styles, okay, in your project. Okay. So yan. So let's have that on the floor plan. Okay, sample that we have here. And currently kasi I have standard lang. Okay, so how to create a text style naman ngayon? Okay, so our shortcut for text style or our alias for text style is ST. Okay, I will going to accept. Okay, then there you go. So yan, so currently I have here, okay, so these text styles. Yan, so let's say I have okay, so let's say I currently have standard and the assigned font, okay, for my text style, okay, na standard is txt.shx. So I want to create, okay, another set of text styles, okay, in BricsCAD. So you will simply click this new icon here. Then after that, of course, much better to name, okay, that text style based on the name of the font, okay, that you will be using. For example, you will be using Arial. So you name that text style into Arial. Okay, pangit naman pag you are going to use a font na Arial but you are going to rename that to Roman. So you will just confuse yourself, diba? Okay, then I will going to assign, okay, an Arial, okay, na text style. So that is Arial, okay, then text style. And for the other settings, okay, so we have here the height and the width factor and the oblique angle. Okay, for now, just ignore this. I will going to explain later some of it. Okay, so again, so we have aerial text style. I'm going to create again. So click new. So let's say I have here Roman, okay, with letter C. So I'm going to look for the Roman text font here. Okay, so this roman.shx. Okay, there you go. Then ano pa? So, okay, let's add another one. Okay, so ano ba yung pwede dito? Okay, so let's have a little, much thicker. Okay, so we have your Cooper block, for example. So I'll put Cooper. Okay, then let's say yung Cooper block na to, guys. I will going to assign a height here. Okay, so let's say we're going to put 300, okay, on the Cooper block. And the other is 0. So what will be the significance of putting height, okay, on your text file, okay, here? So, and then currently my current text style is assigned to standard. So that is represented by a dot here, a small circular blue dot. Okay, so I'll just accept this. Okay, so to change the text style, so I can highlight, okay, this text, then click here on the annotate ribbon tab. So I can reassign, okay, my text. So for example, Arial. Okay, so I'll be using a text style, okay, na Arial na yun. This one naman, I will just highlight. Okay, then let's say Roman. Okay, this is now Roman. Okay, so that's how you will going to create and reassign, okay, your text styles. Okay, you can also do so yan. Okay, so you can also perform that, okay, using the property palette. Sorry. So I'll just select, then here on the text style, so you can simply reassign to, yeah, let's say Cooper block. Okay, so what have you observed here, guys? Right after I assigned this living room text to Cooper block. Tingnan nyo. Control Z ko. Ito. If I'm going to assign this to Arial, so what happened? Okay, ito. If I'm going to assign this to Cooper block, what will happen? Okay. Ano nangyari? Okay, tama. Okay, guys. Okay, nung inassign ko to, okay, on Arial, so the text height didn't change. But this text here, kanina maliit yun, di ba? When I assign that to Cooper block, it automatically changes based on the default height that you have on your text style na Cooper block. Okay? So yan. So yun yung mangyari if you are going to put, okay, a text height here, okay, a default text height on your text style. Okay? And that is not only applicable on BricsCAD. It is applicable, mostly applicable in all of the CAD softwares. So, dun din nagkakamali yung mga drafters ng parang nakakonfuse sila na hindi nila biglang nag-change yung text height ng mga text nila by assigning text styles lang. Then, ito pa, there's another situation pa. If I'm going to assign the current text style into Arial, remember that Arial here on the dialog box, okay, ng ating text style doesn't have a default height or a given height here. It is 0. So if you were going to use the Arial on the text, then so I was going to click Then, for example, dito, yan, if you observe, you can, ano, the command line will ask you for the text height. Okay, so I will going to put 250, for example. Then, for the rotation angle, okay, 0. So, yan. So, let's say this is dining. So, yan. Okay. So, yan. So, if you were going to use aerial, okay, on your detect, so the detect command will going to ask, okay, for a text height. But if you were going to use the Cooper block, okay, on labeling, okay, a floor plan, remember that Cooper block, okay, has its assigned height here. So if you were going to assign to Cooper block, then you were going to create a text here. So let's say dito. So if you are going to observe your command line, okay, it will not going to ask for a text height. It will go directly to the angle. Okay, so it will ask for the angle 0. And by the way, for the angle, guys, so we forget the angle. I will going to explain, go back to that later. Okay, so yeah, so basically it will going to use the default height of your Cooper block textile. So T and B, for example. There you go. Yan. So that is the effect. If you are going to put, okay, a text height na, okay, dun sa textile mo. So you will not be able to control initially, okay, the height of your text, okay, that you are going to create in your project. Okay, so let's go back. So I think na kuha na natin, okay, kung paano gumawa ng text task. That is ST as a review. Then you are going to, okay, so reassign lang kung ano yung gagamitin niya. Okay? Then in case of changes, you simply select, highlight the text, then change that, okay, here on the annotate ribbon tab or simply on the property palette. Okay? So that's how you are going to create and manipulate your text style. Okay, so going back here, guys. Or dito na lang siguro. Okay, so I'm sorry I forgot about the rotation, okay, on the text. Actually, the rotation is very simple. It's just simply the rotation of your text. Okay, so yan. So I create. Okay, so let's say I'm going to put a rotation angle of 90 degrees. Yan. So, medyo iba sa BricsCAD, guys, compared to AutoCAD. So, initially, the BricsCAD will going to rotate na kaagad yung orientation, okay, nung work area nyo or ng model space nyo in order for it to type. Yan, so let's say this is entrance. Yan, this is just a sample. Then I will going to accept. So, it will go back to the, it will go back to the original orientation. But, okay, so your text na entrance will be rotated na. Okay? So that is just the very simple concept of the rotation angle on the text option. Okay, so yun lang. Then you can put or you can manipulate, okay, the rotation here again. So yan. So yan. There you go. So yan. So you can manipulate the rotation. Okay. So yan. So that is just the rotation dun sa text. Okay. So basically, so that is the creation. Okay, the editing and the creation and editing and manipulation of the textiles also. Okay, so we are almost on the end of our free learning session on BricsCAD, but I want to share something pa, a bonus for you guys. So yan. So maybe some of you might be curious about how you were going to have this kind of, this kind of text, okay, on your project. For example, your project will more likely involve special characters, or it will going to involve and subscript and superscript. Yes. So how you are going to do that? So how to put that? Okay. So yan. So so let's have a very simple sample of those special characters, and I will going to use the text for now. Yan. So special characters. Yan. If you are going to type character map, I know this is not here. Character map. Yan, on your windows. So, on the character map, guys, so you will observe, okay, a series of codes, okay, on your, on your symbols or special characters. Yan. So, so here, so for the dollar sign, so you can use this is backslash actually, U plus 0024. That will be dollar sign. And I'll be using MTEX na lang. You can use DTEX and MTEX either way man. So I will use MTEX na lang. Oops. Okay. So dito na lang ako mag-type. Okay, so let's go back to the character map. So that would be for the dollar sign. So U plus 0024. Okay. So U plus 0024. So this is just a bonus in our discussion. So I will simply put yan. So U plus 0024. So it will automatically convert it into a dollar sign. Yan. So for the plus minus, you have a percent P. That's letter P. Plus minus. Then what else? What we can get here? So yan. So U plus 0040. So backslash U plus 0040. Sabi, yung dami mo pang i-type, no? Okay, so yan. So what else? Okay, so percent symbol. Ano na? Percent symbol, we have percent pala on the keyboard. We also have dollar sign. So pinahirapan lang kayo ni BricsCAD in other software. So percent, okay, D. So that is for degree symbol. Okay, what else we can have here? Itong AE. So this is U plus 00C6. So this is backslash. Okay, so U plus 00C6. Okay, so AE. So yan. So you simply get the code, okay, on your character map. Then you are going to type it here. If that character doesn't have on, if you doesn't have that character on your keyboard, so you can simply get the code and type that here, okay, on your MTEX. Okay. Another one. Okay, so let's have the subscript or superscript. Okay, so what you are going to do there? Okay, so yan. Meron ba tayong mga symbol dito? Mga default symbol. Okay, so subscript yung superscript tayo. Ano bang pwede natin masample dito? So for the subscript, so we have the very famous too big, okay, H2O. So I'll just put H. Then, yan, I'll just put, okay, I forgot what they call that sign. So 2O. Then I will simply highlight this. We don't have that on the right click here. Okay, but what we're going to do here is we will going to click the icon here. We have stock text. So we'll simply click that. Okay, so by having that symbol, yan yung pataas. I forgot the name. Okay, then the number that you want. Okay, so yan. So I repeat. So it should be this first, this symbol first before the number. Okay, so then highlight, then you are going to click, okay, stock text. There you go. Then for the superscript, yung mga cubic, yung mga squared, so what you are going to do there, for example, 32 millimeter. So if you want superscript naman, so you are going to type first, okay, the number, then the symbol, then you are going to highlight and click, okay, this, okay, stock text. Okay, there you go. So yan. So that's how you do that. Okay, so there are so many ano pa no ng options dito, but basically there are ano ng more likely the same dun sa Microsoft Word natin. Okay? So simple as that, guys. Very simple. Okay, so our discussion today looks very simple but inabot pa rin tayo ng ilang oras. Okay, so as a review, so yun nga, if you are creating a project, remember that you have DTEX and you have MTEX, okay, to be used in your project. Okay, to make it simple, if you do the labeling on your projects, okay, so use DTEX. If you are going to create general notes or paragraph type, ng mga text. So you are going to use, okay, the M text or the multiline text. Okay? Yan. Then we have here the justifications to be considered, okay, on your text, mainly on the text. Then we have here, okay, the text height. Okay, so what you are going to do if you want to properly put, okay, text on your project with coordinated with the scaling. So just remember this formula. Okay, so yan. So model space text height, that is paper space height plus the project scale. Very simple. Okay, then okay, our editing. So text edit, spell check, property palette, find and replace, and the creation of the text styles. Okay, so yan. This is our text style. Okay, so may error pa eh. Paano tayo? Okay. So yan, so if you have questions guys, okay, so feel free to ask questions. Okay, lalo na dun sa if you cannot ask questions for now, so you can type on the YouTube channel, okay, of CADinCloud. You can type or put your questions there and I will going to answer, or the CADinCloud team will going to answer. Okay, so our discussion for today is done na. So see you in the next meeting. See you on the next learning session. So this is a very ano guys no nang take this opportunity to learn from here, because this discussion in BricsCAD is the transition step by step. So it is just like hitting multiple birds at one stone, because you are learning the basic, the essential of BricsCAD. You are also learning the essentials of the other CAD softwares kasi it is almost the same. Okay? Especially dun sa mga red, okay, users. Okay? Yung kulay red na ano na CAD software. Okay? Na very famous. Okay? So yan. So I think we're done for today.
Ayan, thanks, Brian.
Okay, Ma'am Nelsie. So
Okay,
Hello?
I'd like to invite everyone lang to join BricsCAD Stay Connected Student Challenge. So this competition is open to all students, designers, artists, architects, engineers, academics, and visionaries. No, so design something that enables people to stay connected without touch. Ayan. Okay, so I'll be sharing the blog link, no, para mabasa nyo and makasali kayo, no. So, ayan, judging criteria, BricsCAD model quality, no. So, showcase your BricsCAD skills and syempre originality and the complete concept, no. So, getting started, nandyan sa video link natin yung um, BricsCAD download link. So, inviting you to download BricsCAD now, no? Ayan. So, entry requirement, this competition is open to students who are currently studying or who have completed their studies in 2020, no? Parental approval to enter is required for anyone under the age of 18. Okay, you can enter your design as a single person or as a team. The prize will remain the same whether an individual or team wins the competition. Okay, so syempre, the design model must be created in BricsCAD. So submission requirements, enter by filing in this form and submitting the following. Isang.dwg file, approximately 500 words to explain your design idea, and or any images if relevant. No? Competition closes at 11 p.m. on 16th of April 2021. Okay, so first, second, and third place will be announced on 30th of April. Okay, so the prizes. So first prize is 1,000 euro and the prototype model of your design. So exact product methods will depend on the size and complexity of the model. So second prize is Space Mouse Pro worth 300 euro dollar, no? And then third prize is Space Mouse wireless connection worth 150 euro. So sa mga interested, please do join, no? So you can check out CADinCloud YouTube channel for mga beginner na courses. Meron tayong courses dyan. Or you may check out the BricsCAD YouTube channel. Okay, so we are hoping na maraming sumali. Yan, from the Philippines, no? So, mark your calendar. Start doing your design now. Submission is on April 16. So, you still have around 3 weeks to work for it. Okay? And thanks, Sir Brian.
Thank you, Ma'am Nelsie. Guys, see you next learning session. So, remember yung palaging sinasabi. So, no matter how boring it is, essentials is very important, okay, on learning any CAD software. So, learn the basic, master the basic, and you will going to master the software. Okay, so thank you and good afternoon. Have a nice day.
Bye, everyone.
BricsCAD is computer-aided design software for people who build things. It's the best choice for drafters, designers, architects, and engineers. It's highly compatible with everything you already know. It's based on industry standard DWG for both 2D drafting and 3D modeling. BricsCAD leverages the power of artificial intelligence to help you work faster and more accurately. Hundreds of third-party applications run on BricsCAD to power your workflows. BricsCAD is a design platform that runs as one product, end to end. BricsCAD BIM is a unique, CAD-accurate building information modeling system that keeps design first. BricsCAD Mechanical brings a familiar workflow to mechanical assembly design, and it works with BricsCAD BIM to enable the design and documentation of manufactured building products. No other CAD vendor can deliver on this promise. BricsCAD is cost-effective. A BricsCAD perpetual license is half the price of a yearly subscription to that other CAD program. Try BricsCAD today.